welcome to today's On This Day in Tudor History video. I'm Claire Ridgway. I run the Tudor Society and the Anne Boleyn Files websites. I'm also a writer. I've written quite a few books on Tudor history, including those that are behind me just there. Now, actually, I can't really say on this day in Tudor history today, as this one is actually from the Stuart period, because I'm taking us back to the year of 1635 with today's event, the 14th of May 1635. Helena Gorges, maiden name Snakenborg, Lady Gorges, was buried on this day in Salisbury Cathedral. But I'm actually taking you back to the Tudor period, really, because this woman was a famous Tudor lady, a lady of the Tudor court, who became prominent in the reign of Queen Elizabeth I. So let me tell you some facts about this Tudor lady who started her life in Sweden. Now, Helena was Swedish, as I said. She was born in Sweden in 1548, and I'm probably going to completely muck up the Swedish names here, so I apologise terribly to those people that do know how to pronounce it and any Swedish followers. But Helena was the daughter of Ulf Henriksson of Östergötland and his wife Agneta Knutsson. Before her first marriage, she was known as Helena or Ellen Snakenborg, her surname coming from her mother's family. In the mid-1560s, she was chosen to serve Princess Cecilia of Sweden, who was the daughter of King Gustav I of Sweden. She was chosen to serve her as a Maid of Honor, so, you know, a prestigious appointment for Helena there. In 1564, she accompanied the princess on a journey to the court of Queen Elizabeth I. And on arrival at Queen Elizabeth I's court, or soon after, she fell in love with an English courtier, William Parr, who was Marquis of Northampton. You might recognise the name Parr. He was the brother of the late Queen Catherine Parr, who had, of course, been Henry VIII's sixth wife. Now, William Parr, Marquis of Northampton, was a lot older than Helena. He was 35 years her senior. He was a divorcee. He'd been granted a divorce from his wife in 1551. But this divorce had been rescinded in Queen Mary I's reign in 1553. Queen Elizabeth, however, when she came to the throne, recognised the divorce. So he was, in Queen Elizabeth I's reign, seen as a divorcee. But his wife was still alive at the time that he and Helena fell in love. Now, the princess that Helena was serving as Maid of Honor returned to Sweden in 1566, but Helena did not go back with the princess. She stayed on in England, and in 1567 she joined Queen Elizabeth I's household. She served the Queen as a Maid of Honor and then as a gentlewoman of the Privy Chamber. In 1571, William Parr's wife died, and he then married Helena, and the Queen attended their wedding. So they didn't secretly marry and annoy the Queen. They were ones that did it properly, and the Queen attended their wedding. Sadly, Parr died just a few months after their wedding, so it's just very sad that he finally married her and then he died. But Helena soon fell in love with Thomas Gorges of Wraxall in Somerset. They married in secret in 1576 after the Queen wouldn't give her permission for the marriage. And the reason that she didn't give permission for the marriage was due to the sort of different levels in their status. So they were kind of forced to get married in secret because they obviously wanted to be together. As a result of their secret marriage, and obviously that annoyed the Queen, Helena was banished from court when the Queen actually found out about it. But it appears that Thomas Radcliffe, 3rd Earl of Sussex, who was the Queen's chamberlain and a good friend of Helena's, interceded on her behalf with the Queen. And the Queen eventually, after her anger had subsided, welcomed her back to court. Now, Helena and Thomas had 8 children together. Thomas served Elizabeth as groom of the Privy Chamber from 1571. He acted as a special ambassador to Sweden in 1582, and he was knighted by the Queen in 1586. As for Helena, she carried on serving the Queen, and at Elizabeth's funeral in 1603 she acted as a chief mourner. So the couple, after the blip of their secret marriage, served their Queen loyally and were royal favourites, but they did not carry on as royal favourites into the reign of King James I after Elizabeth's death in 1603. So their favour didn't continue, their status didn't continue. Thomas died on 30th of March 1610, and Helena died on the 10th of April 1635 at the home of her son Robert in Redlinch in Somerset. She was then laid to rest in Salisbury Cathedral on this day in history, 14th of May 1635, the same place that was the resting place of her second husband, Thomas Gorges. Her biographer, Paul Harrington, writes of how at her death Helena had 92 direct descendants. So that is amazing. I wonder if any of you out there have looked into your ancestry and found a link to her, because having 92 direct descendants by the time of her death, that is mind-blowing. So that's what happened on this day in history. As I said, I can't say Tudor history because it actually happened in the Stuart period, but it was about a Tudor lady who I find a very, very interesting lady. You can click around about there to subscribe to this channel, and do have a good browse if you've got any spare time off work, or you just want to get your Tudor fix, then do have a good browse of this channel. There's lots of Tudor goodies for you. Hit the bell to be notified of new videos, and please give this video a like. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye.